Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another Lightsaber Theory. So on today's Lightsaber Theory, we will be discussing Darth Bane's lightsaber and the many inconsistencies which you find in not only some of the artwork, but also some of the lightsabers that they have out there for sale. So the first thing you have to dive into is what was the first description of what Darth Bane's lightsaber looked like. The first reference of Darth Bane and what his saber looked like actually came from a short story called Bane of the Sith, which was followed up by a comic book series called The Jedi vs. Sith. Now in The Jedi vs. Sith, they depicted him with a purple lightsaber with a standard hilt. Now, because one was only a short story and the other one was done in a comic book, we all know how comic books oftentimes mess up the source material or what should have been the source material. Since the short story really didn't give a whole lot of description and didn't really go into depth of the character, this was actually changed permanently when the novels came out. So in 2006, Drew Karpyshyn wrote the novel Darth Bane, Path of Destruction, which was followed up by Darth Bane, Rule of Two, and Darth Bane, Dynasty of Evil. Obviously, these books went into great detail of not only the backstory of Darth Bane, but what exactly he was supposed to be like and how he acquired his lightsaber. So over the course of Bane training on Korriban, the Twi'lek Blade Master, Kasim, was impressed with Bane's latest duel, which he won in spectacular fashion. And he gifted Bane the lightsaber that he took from his master. So unlike the first introduction concerning what Bane's weapon looked like, this one was actually much different in appearance. So reading directly from the novel, Kasim turns to Bane and says, "I have something for you." Brushing away the folds of his cloak and reaching for his lightsaber on his belt. No, Bane realized, not his lightsaber. The handle of Kasim's weapon was noticeably longer than most, allowing it to house two crystals, one to power each blade. This hilt was smaller, and it was fashioned with a strange curve, giving it a hooked appearance. The Blade Master ignited the lightsaber. Its single blade burned a dark red. "This was the weapon of my master," he told Bane. So obviously with that description, it cannot be a standard lightsaber blade, which you may see for sale right here. And while some of the other blades for sale show a curved handle, much like the one that Dooku used in the prequels, there's a bit more to the novel when it picks up in Path of Destruction that further sheds a little bit more light on what this saber would actually look like. And it's a small passage, but it changes the dynamic of how this handle would look. So again, reading directly from one of the books, which is Rule of Two, Chapter 1, Page 1, there was an air of menace about him, accentuated by his shaved head, his heavy brow, and the dark intensity of his eyes. This, even more than his foreboding black armor or the sinister hook-handled lightsaber dangling from his belt, marked him as a man of fearsome power, a true champion of the dark side of the Force. Now, that within itself just tells you it's a hooked style blade lightsaber. And you may think, well, it just looks like Dooku's and that's the end of it. But there's another passage later on in the book that gives a little bit more description to the saber and actually changes the way it should be viewed and how it would look. So in chapter 3 on page 23, it picks back up and it gives a little bit more description. You will learn, Bane assured her, attaching the hooked handle of his lightsaber back onto his belt. If he is using that hooked end of the lightsaber to attach to his belt, that means that it's got a very hard curve to it. A lot more than just the handle itself being curved, that there's an actual hook on the end of this that he's using to attach onto his belt. Because he's not saying that there's a clip that he's attaching it. He's saying he's attaching it by the hooked end of the saber. And I think a lot of people missed this from the books. These were the last descriptions of what Bane's lightsaber would look like. So all the other ones that you see out there, they are wrong. And it's as simple as that. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't be scared to share them. If you like what you heard, go ahead. Use the power of the dark side and destroy that like button for me. And if you are new to the channel, I would greatly appreciate you subscribing. And I will catch all of you next time. Later, y'all.